Welcome to ADHD Founders, a podcast where we talk about having ADHD and also being a founder and running our own businesses and some of the challenges that come with both of those things. This episode is just me and Jesse. Sharon is out this week, but we'll be back on board next week. We were going to talk about our 2026, I guess, resolutions in a way, or themes.
I think themes, kind of like
themes is a
outlook
better
for
word.
the year. I think themes is the word.
Themes kind of for 2026. But because Sharon's out, we're going to wait and do that next episode. So this episode, Jesse and I, because we're both developer designers, we talk a lot more about the development side and what it's like to get your first app into the App Store, sort of the process behind that, sort of getting rejected by the App Store, and, you know, just a little bit about handling features and feature requests. After that, we talk about our picks and plugs as well, some products and websites that we recommend.
Yeah, we definitely get a bit nerdy in this episode. So if you're into that, you're going to have a really great time. Quick shout out. Just want to mention the Patreon. You can support the podcast at patreon.com/ADHD_founders. And you too can become an amazing patron like Dexter Jacobs, who we shouted out last time. The app he is working on, Linarium. We'd love to shout out what you're working on as well. So jump on the Patreon, sign on up.
All right, well, enjoy the episode. It's super cool. So this is the Pebble Core 2, I think it is, which is limited release. You can't buy them anymore. Like, they just re-released it. And then, so for people who are just listening, I'm kind of holding up my watch on the YouTube feed, and it's the Pebble Core 2. It's very similar to the old one. They use the same outside shell, but the insides are different. Anyway, I really love it. It's my favorite.
Why don't you have the best watch face going on there?
What do you mean? This is like the
slow watch.
Oh, yeah.
Or slow time, whatever it is.
I kind of switch between them. Depends what I'm doing. This is probably my default, like just having these big numbers, because it's very, very easy to see. I don't know. I love this thing. Part of the reason I love it is because it does not look like an Apple Watch. Like, it's very obvious that it's not.
I have the Ultra, and I like the Ultra design because it kind of has that, like, what is it, brawn kind of style. Like, it's very industrial. The way. Yeah, like, I kind of dig the look of it, but I also, like we said on the last episode, I really am tempted by, I haven't pulled the trigger yet, but I'm really tempted by the new Pebble Round, because that just looks
Which
so
I
nice.
have on pre-order.
Yeah.
It's going to be probably mid-year, I would say. But I can't wait for that. You know what? I would like an Ultra that is smaller, because I like the design of it as well, like that industrial. You know what my perfect setup would be? Like the Ultra that's smaller with an iPhone 4, like that industrial design, 4S.
Yes,
like that was
I love
peak.
the 4. That's the one with the glass on the back. Yes, best
that was
design.
Peak design. Yeah, the buttons, even I think the volume buttons were just round.
They were like clicky round. Yeah,
clicky round.
Perfect.
Oh,
it was perfect. Give me that device with like modern hardware like shoved in there. But yes, that design, perfect. I would love to have that phone.
You would love the size as well, because you like the smaller phones, right? That was that was very small, but at the time it was small phone, but it had a small screen. But if they could do that size phone with, like, you know, the screen all the way up to the with small bezels, that could be really cool.
Yeah.
With a small Ultra.
Kind of speaking of, like, I've been kind of recently working with small phones because we talked last week about the app I've been building, Flux, which is a Blue Sky client, and it's out. It's in the App Store, and which has been amazing. We can talk about that in a second. But the small phone thing, I've been realizing, how does this look on an older iPhone, like an iPhone 13 mini or something like that? Especially if it's pre-liquid glass, because I really have leaned into the liquid glass design. Yeah. And that was something I kind of didn't even think about. And then it came out and someone showed me like a screenshot of one of the views and was like, hey, is this page supposed to look like it? Because it's just, if you don't have liquid glass, it's just empty. And so, like, you open up a menu and you can just see like text on top of text. It's no good. So now I've been like working through, I have like the iOS simulator of the 13 mini, and I've been going through and making like some tweaks and basically just building a component that says, like, if liquid glass, do this look, otherwise do this sort of like frosted, blurred look that is similar enough that I don't have to like I don't have to think about old phones
Yeah.
with every single interface. I can kind of just like use this
Yeah,
component
wow. That's just
and
kind
it
of
takes care of it.
one more layer, isn't it? Because like you obviously have different phones, like the screen sizes to accommodate too, because how much you can fit on a row. But now there's like design things as well. And you kind of got to draw a line at some point, like what models you want to support. It gets exponentially more difficult with Android as well, because there are more Android devices.
No.
And so at some point you kind of got to go, I'm not going to support anything under this year, like a certain year, which kind of sucks because there are so many people who have older phones but just can't.
Yeah, I'm afraid of getting to do the Android stuff because I've never owned like an Android phone. So it's like on one hand, I'm just not even really familiar with that ecosystem.
Yeah.
But then the other thing is, yeah, like you're saying, there's so many different ones and so many little differences. That was one of the first when I announced that it was out in the App Store, which you can go to the App Store now and download it. Go search for Flux for Blue Sky, or if you just search Blue Sky, it's usually in the top like 15 or something now, which is pretty cool. Or if you search Flux, it's also kind of in the top 15. There's a bunch of weird AI stuff with like AI generation apps that have the name Flux in it. So I'm not like near the top, but I'm in there. Anyway, Flux for Blue Sky, that'll get you right to it.
What's the background with the name? Like, why did you call it Flux?
I can't remember.
It's like flux capacitor, like a
yeah, flux capacitor was part. I was kind of playing around with different name ideas. I think flux means like flow or feed in like some different, maybe French or something like that. And that sort of fits in with like a timeline view of a social media app like Blue Sky.
Oh yeah. It's like
and
flowing.
So that was sort of some of the thinking there. And also it's just like, that's a cool word and it's a short word. And hopefully I'll be able to like rank well for it because like I said, there's a bunch of other apps with that name, but they're all like trashware kind of apps, you know, as far as I can tell. It looks like something someone threw together in a weekend and it just happens to exist up there. So hopefully if I continue to sort of build on this, it will jump up to the top result for that. That's my hope.
Awesome. So right now it's a free app.
Yeah, so I do have, so it's a free app and you can do everything in it. I do have a pro version, which a few people have paid for, which is awesome. And that just unlocks the ability to do like an accent color because right now the default accent color is orange. So like for links and things like that, it uses orange.
Yeah.
You can, if you get pro, there's like 16 different colors you can use. And similarly, you can customize the app icon. And so you can have it match whatever your theme color is, or you can individually choose. And I'm really hoping to like build on that and start to do some fun, like custom icons. I'll probably do a few that are available for everybody so that even if you don't have pro, you have like a few options just because that kind of is fun.
Did you pick orange for a particular reason? Because like a lot of social media apps, the color is blue. Like it's like a navy blue or like a deep blue, right? Or even just sort of a, it's not really royal blue, but you know, like a lighter blue, like the old Twitter kind of blue.
Yeah.
Facebook's blue. They're all blue.
Kind of
LinkedIn's blue. Like,
right,
but did you pick orange because of ADHD? Because apparently orange is like a good ADHD color.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say it was ADHD specific, but it was intentional to like stand out. Orange has kind of been my color lately for all my things. And so that's part of it. I just like the color orange. It's kind of like my brand a little bit.
Your book is orange.
Yeah. My book is orange. I've got the orange phone. So orange is kind of in this year with the new iPhone. I've got the orange water bottle.
Like, yeah, you just showed
really into the orange right now. But yeah, so I kind of did it a little bit because that's just kind of my quote unquote
your
like brand color lately.
Yeah.
And to stand out because like you said, every single other app is blue.
Yeah.
And so it kind of, I almost even put that in one of the screenshots of like making a big deal about it orange. I decided against it because I was like, I don't want people to not download it if they're like, oh, it's going to be really orange. And it's not that orange because it's just like the accent color. But anyway.
I think it's so funny how you say orange as well. Like you kind of go orange. Like you kind of, well, there was some other word that we were talking about last time, not on the pod, but it was when we were at the conference like a year ago. There was one word
there's a few different like Australia isms. There's a few things that you said that Sharon and I were definitely picked up.
That you literally dropped like the whole start of the word and kind of went like it just blended. I can't remember what it was, but that's what it reminded me of, like orange. It's just like, where's the ORA?
Oh, was it crayon? It might have been crayon.
Yeah, that's even worse because I don't even know what you're saying. Like, what is a crayon? I know it's a crayon. I know that you're trying to say crayon, But I've never
Yeah.
heard anyone say cran.
Yeah, just cran.
Is
Just
it just
cran.
me?
It's just like CRAN, like a cranberry. It's just a cran. You just color with a
Cranberry
crayon.
makes sense because it's CRAN, but you're talking about CRAY. You kind of just missed the Y completely and went to the ON. Cran.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just like there's a
could be a
lot of like
Jesse
those
thing.
random regional. No, that's not a Jesse. That's a regional thing. There was a we're getting way off topic, but
Yeah,
there was
we are.
like a few years back there was like a survey. I think it was New York Times where you could like answer like 10 questions of like
Yeah.
how do you pronounce this word, or like there's the how do you describe like something that's on the opposite corner, and there's like like kitty corner, catty corner, cattywampus, and like there's all these like different, and all of
Okay.
them. Yeah. So which would you say? Do you have one for that?
For
Where you're
what?
saying like, oh, this building is the opposite corner of that other building. What would you call that?
Opposite? Not adjacent. Adjacent would be next.
Yeah, not adjacent. So it's
Yeah,
like opposite. So like I would say it's kitty corner.
Oh, I don't have a word for it at all. I think I would just say opposite.
Okay. So apparently like catty corner I think was the most popular. And then there's one that's like cattywampus.
Oh,
which
never.
just sounds really weird. And then there's like a couple other ones. Anyway, there's this survey you could take where you would say like how you pronounce different words, and then it would show you a map and it would guess where you lived based on the way you pronounce like different things.
Yeah. Okay.
Or there's also like the, Coke versus soda versus pop.
Oh, yeah.
Those sort of things.
Yeah, so, like soft drink.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure cran is one of those just kind of in this. I think it's kind of maybe a West Coast thing.
Yeah. Okay. I have to ask some other folks. But anyway, we got way off topic. Going back to your app.
Orange.
Orange. I don't want to lose the fact that, I mean, you submitted it and put it into the App Store. That's a huge thing, like to get it first time, like to get it into the App Store. Like it's really different to just updating it, right? Getting it in the first time, like that's a huge milestone. It's kind of hard. And you got kicked back once, right? You got rejected once.
Yeah. So first, thank you. I appreciate it. Feels very awesome. Like I have an app right now. It's live in the App Store. I can tell someone about it. They can search for it and download it. That's pretty amazing. I learned from some of the things that Sharon had said before. You guys were talking, I think late last year when she was they were working on the new version of Shelpful. And so like one of the things I knew is I have to have a privacy policy in my text description, even though it's not a clickable link. It's like one of those really dumb things that doesn't really make sense because there's another place for your privacy policy that you can click and makes perfect sense. But for whatever reason, I'm sure there's some legalese somewhere where you have to put in this text link in the description. Anyway, so I was able to skip that step because I'd heard you both talk about that before.
Yep.
But I did get a rejection, and it listed a bunch of things. Some of them, I'm trying to remember what they were. I know that several of them didn't make any sense because it was saying stuff like, oh, you need a way for people to delete their account. And I was like, you can't create an account. There is no account. I'm a client for Blue Sky. To delete your account, you go to Blue Sky. Yeah, you got to go to
Blue Sky. Exactly.
Right. Like if I make an email account, I'm not telling people like adding a button so they can delete their Gmail account. Like you go to Gmail or your email provider for that, not the client.
Yeah.
So there were several things like that I was able to just sort of like, I was worried. I tried to clarify it and write it as nice as possible. Of like, this doesn't actually apply to this app for these reasons. And I was worried that they were going to say that, no, you have to do it. Or the same thing, like having people agree to what do they call it? Like a usage policy or usage agreement, something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And that's another thing where it's
Blue
Sky
yours.
thing.
It's Blue Sky.
Yeah. And so luckily that me describing that worked. And so I didn't have to I was really worried they were going to make me add in my own usage agreement or something like that, which is not what I wanted to do. Because I'm like, I'm not going to consult a lawyer. And so I feel really iffy about doing that.
Sure.
But as a client, I don't have to worry about that because all of that's handled through Blue Sky. And the same thing with like moderation. That was one thing they pointed out was you couldn't report anything from my app.
Did you give them examples of other apps? So for example, Reddit is like a key one where Reddit has a lot of client apps. Well, at least they used to. They used to. Like now they're charging developers to use the API, like some ridiculous amount that's not sustainable. But a couple of years ago, Reddit had like a lot of client apps. Did you kind of go, well, my app is similar to these other client type apps?
I think I used the email example. I think I was
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about it's similar to an
Okay.
email client
Sure.
where
Yeah,
you
that's
don't
probably better.
delete or create accounts. You add your IMAP details or whatever and connect
Sure.
to an extra service. So, and that seemed to work. So I think I originally had a few different examples. What was the other? I can't remember. I had another example, not the one, not the Reddit one, but there was something similar. I kind of pared back. I was like, let's just do the email thing. And then I can add more if I get the denial again.
Yeah.
But yeah, the one thing they did say was, yeah, being able to block stuff. So I was able to set that up, which is actually good. So now if you happen to see questionable content that comes through on Blue Sky, you can report it. And then Blue Sky has their own moderation team, which responds within 24 hours. So that helps me meet that requirement.
Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah. So their API lets you go straight to their...
Yeah, so you can hit report on a post. It brings up a menu. You can set the reason and then a note for why you're reporting it. And then that sends it off to Blue Sky.
Yeah, cool.
So all in all, like it looked really scary when I first got it. It was like rejected for like 13 reasons. But most of them were super minor. I feel like there was something else that was like, oh, I needed, because technically you can install it on an iPad. I had to add an iPad screenshot, even though it's not like optimized for that.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's sort of something that I'll probably go through and make it work a little better on iPad and add some like actually nice screenshots. It works okay. There's like a few small issues, but overall it's like, it works pretty well. It's pretty decent.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
Yeah. The other thing that happened, so it's been very exciting to like release it, and then had some people talk about it on Blue Sky, which was cool. Like people, there's been a huge influx to Blue Sky from Japan. And so I can't remember why. I don't know if it's like a law change there or something like that. But sometime in the past, like couple months, there was this huge influx of like people from Japan into the Blue Sky kind of ecosystem. So much so that right now the main Blue Sky account, whenever they post something, they post it twice, once in Japanese. And so there's like this huge kind of Japanese culture there. Anyway, I kept having to translate posts because I was seeing people talk about Flux in Japanese. And I think a couple of people saw that my app came out and then reposted it. And so some other like Japanese users were posting it and then sharing like some feature requests of things. I'm like,
wow.
That's
the best. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it was amazing. So I'm like, I never would have thought of this, but I think there was something like the character counter is off for Japanese characters, which, because there's all the weird things that happen with like Unicode and things like that, where same with like emoji, like some emoji are like take up multiple characters because they're actually three next to each other, and then it makes it into the family image or whatever the emoji is. And so that's like one of the things I need to figure out so that like that works better in Japan. But anyway, it was so fun just like seeing people post and say stuff, and they're like talking about it, and like seeing someone say like, oh, have you tried the new hotness, like the new app that's out?
The new hotness.
It was pretty cool.
No, that's
and the other thing was like some of the early people that were using it were people that were kind of in the AT protocol or the AT protocol, which is what Blue Sky is kind of built on.
Okay.
Sort of in that like AT proto dev community.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that you can do with the AT protocol is you can use other, what is the terminology? Other PDSs, which I think is personal data server.
Okay.
I think. And basically, Blue Sky is the main PDS that most people use. And so my app only supported using the Blue Sky PDS. But immediately, because some of the dev community were like interested in this new app that came out, a lot of people were like, hey, why can't I log in with my third-party PDS?
Right.
And so I like quickly had to learn how all that stuff worked, because there was like all these other kind of alternatives that people were using. But it was really exciting because it was kind of one of those product moments where in my head, I had like 5 things that I thought were the most important thing. And I felt embarrassed a little bit that I shipped it and didn't get to these 5 things. No one has mentioned any of those things. They're talking about this third-party PDS thing, which I didn't even think about.
Yeah.
Or they're talking about text size, being able to like increase the text size, which I have. That's coming out very soon. I've been working on that. So yeah, it's been really fun.
I think you said a really important thing there, which was like in your head, you had these 5 things that you thought were important, but then in reality, like no one even cared about that. I have this all the time, like all the time, where I'm like, oh, I've just got like before I ship something, I've got these little things that I just want to take care of, and they're really important, and like it's gonna bug me, and people are gonna say stuff about it. So I kind of got into this habit of going, well, on my to-do list for whatever feature I'm doing, I always halfway through the feature, this always happens. It's always like halfway through where I'm like, oh, I'm so close to shipping. Then I split the list, and I have to do before launch, and then stuff to do later. And so gradually throughout the sprint or whatever, like making the feature, some stuff gets pushed into the like stuff to do later. Half the time I never even come back to the stuff to do later because no one even cares. It's just me that cares, or it's just you that cares. Like no one cares.
Yeah, it's so funny. That was very much my experience early on, like, I don't know, like 10 years ago at a company I was working at. And I remembered I would like argue with my product manager as we were like trying to figure out what the important things to focus on, like what features do we need to ship. And he was very much an MVP kind of person where he just wanted to ship like MVP as the minimum viable product. Like, he's like, let's just get it out there, see how people use it, and then we can add more features later. And I back then was very much like, oh no, it's got to be perfect. It's got to be this and that and same sort of thing. And we eventually kind of came to a similar system you're kind of saying, where we kind of had a line, and then we would push stuff under the line and say that's V2. Like if we can work on that as soon as we ship the V1, we can jump on that right away. But we're going to push those things to V2, or maybe we'll put a timeline, and then those are wish list. If we finish this other stuff and then we still have 3 days left, we can maybe go through a little bit of those like stretch goal kind of like wish list items. What would happen? We would work on it. I have these things that I thought were really important. They'd be kind of on that wish list or the V2 list. We would ship it. And suddenly I was like, I don't really care about those anymore. And no one's mentioning those at all. And there's other things that suddenly seem more important than that thing that I thought was really important before we shipped it. But once it's out there and people are using it, it's like, it gives you this whole new clarity of what's actually important for the product.
Yeah, I think you get so much dopamine from the shipping that you kind of don't.
Right.
You're like, oh, that other stuff's fine. It's kind of this huge relief after it gets approved and it's out there. Like it sort of builds up to that, and then you're like, yeah, it's out there. And it's like, whew. And then you kind of want to move on to the next thing. And you're kind of like, oh, that stuff that I thought was important, that's part of the old thing. I don't need to do that anymore. It's kind of, I've very, very rarely come back to do it. Very rarely.
Yeah, same. There's something about that. I'm sure if Sharon were here, she would know the phrase, but there's something about like that. No plan like survives first contact with the user or something like that. And that's what I feel like, where it's like, I have this big plan of what I think the UX should be or needs to be. And then I ship the smaller version, and then it's like, oh, actually that was enough. So like this extra stuff maybe is just fluff. Like it wouldn't actually be as important as it felt. Like once a user is using it and happy with it, it's that stuff just kind of doesn't matter as much. Yeah. Especially when you're someone that's owning a lot of the product. And so you're like, well, I have a million other things I'm interested in too. And so if this is shipped and I can just like check that off my brain, well, that's great because I have something else I can jump to work on instead.
And something that's more new and novel.
Yes, new and shiny. Get the dopamine going. Yeah, get me excited to work on it again.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so what's the plan then for Flux? Like, because you've got 2 products that you're working on, and you've spent a lot more time on Flux recently because you've been working toward the release. But what's the plan now? Like, is it to keep sort of spending time on Flux, or are you going to go back to WavePal and sort of 50-50 split your time, or what's the?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So right now, I'm kind of in Flux land. And part of it is because like my co-founder for WavePal he's working full time. And so he is going to soon have more time available, but hasn't had much time available. And so that's been part of it, is that we are sort of a little bit momentarily stalled. And I just kind of over like kind of Christmas break and stuff started doing this Flux thing for fun, and then have really dug in. And now that I've been working on this, I have a lot of stuff I want to bring back to the WavePal app.
Oh,
just
nice. So
because I'm learning React Native. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff
good.
I'm learning and using in creating stuff for Flux, where I'm like, oh, this pattern actually makes a lot more sense. I should bring that over there.
Yeah,
or
that's
nice. Or sometimes it's just like, oh, I discovered this new package you can download that has these really cool features that would make this thing easier in WavePal, or things like that. And so I feel like there's a lot of really cool cross-pollination that way, which I'm excited for.
Yeah, because then it's kind of like nothing's wasted. Like you learned, even though they're completely
Yes.
separate apps, different purpose, different look, feel, function, you still got the dev learnings to take across.
Yeah. Yeah. So it feels like it's going to be really good kind of going back and
Yeah.
forth with it. And I have like a small list. It's funny. We are just talking about kind of the wish list stuff. I have a small list of things I really want to get out for Flux soon. Like I mentioned, the text size. And so that's
Oh, yeah,
something
that's
I'm shipping
transferable.
really soon.
Mhm.
Yeah. And yeah, again, that's the thing. I'm learning all about how this will work. That'll be transferable when I go back because I should have that same thing in wavepal
Yeah.
where you can customize kind of the font size or accept the accessibility settings,
Yeah.
which has been a whole whirlwind figuring that out. But yeah, it's been good.
Are you doing anything in Xcode or you're just doing it all like React Native?
Pretty much entirely React Native. Like occasionally I'll have something weird with like a native module where I have to open up Xcode and do something, but like 99.8% just React Native.
Yeah, with Llama Life on iOS, live activities, that had to go into Xcode, do some Swift. Like, I don't know Swift, but obviously it's lucky with like just all the AI, like ChatGPT and stuff.
Yeah.
You can kind of work it out. But it's like, that was one bit. I was trying not to go into Xcode to do stuff, but I had to kind of do a little bit in that. And so like the React Native stuff, I need to kind of hand it over and then do whatever and then send it back. It's fine, it worked, but it's kind of like, oh, damn it. I have to go into Swift land. A little bit, just because it's like, it's different. It's funny, like once you know one programming language, you can kind of read it, right? You kind of go, I don't know the exact syntax, but I read it and I'm like, yeah, okay, I think I know what it's trying to do.
One of the weird things with Swift is just Xcode. It's almost more Xcode does a bunch of weird things and you kind of have to learn that.
Yeah.
And there's also like header files and things like that, which I haven't really, most of the languages I've done haven't had to deal with that. And so when I've played with Swift before, that's always been a little bit weird. It feels like there's a lot of magical things kind of happening in Xcode where I'm like, I don't know what is happening here. But assuming this sort of journey continues with React Native and doing mobile stuff, which I think it will. Like that's it. I'm really digging it, and it feels like my happy place. Like it's my jam.
Yeah.
And so,
nice.
assuming that's the case, I do foresee at some point like really diving in and wanting to learn Swift more, so I can kind of do those native modules because there's stuff you just can't do on the React Native side, like you're saying with the live activities or whatever. And I'm sure I'll start to run into some of that stuff more. And there's certain things like in my app, when someone has like a photo, an image, and then you tap on it and it kind of opens up in a light box. I'm a little bit limited with how I can control that on the React Native side. Okay. And so I ended up building my own because all of the existing packages I found out there for like a light box had weird different things that annoyed me about the way the gestures, like swiping in a way that I thought should dismiss the image, wouldn't in certain ones. And there was like things like that. So I built my own, but I'm limited somewhat because I'm not kind of going all the way to the native side. And so that's something I'll probably want to look at eventually because I'm a control freak and I want to control all the little details like that.
I had that with because swiping is kind of a key feature request for Llama Life. Like right now, when you dismiss a task or complete it, you just click a button that says complete. So many people have said on the phone, like, why don't you swipe? It just makes so much sense. And I'm like, yeah, I like swiping as well. I downloaded some sort of library to help with the swiping, and I was the same. I'm like, people probably don't care, but for me, I'm like, this doesn't feel good. Like, I kind of want it to I wanted it to swipe in a certain way, and I wanted to have like this really hard stop when it swiped. I didn't like the, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, not the dynamics, like the physics of it. I didn't like didn't feel good. So I kind of held off I might put it in. It's kind of still in the app. It's in the app. It's just disabled. I could turn it on.
So I have in kind of a small area in my app, I have that where there's like a certain thing that you can swipe left to remove.
Yeah.
And same with what you're saying. I was not satisfied with it. And so I ended up just doing it because it worked and I didn't have another way of doing it that I wanted to do. But I have a card that I keep looking at that is basically like, go back and fix it because it was like I wanted it to act a certain way. I want it to be like when I start to swipe, it reveals the icon. And if I go past a certain threshold, I want that icon to bounce over and then sort of like lock into this other position to show that, oh, now it's going to delete. it's hard to describe on an audio podcast, but I couldn't get it to do exactly quite right.
Yeah.
And so I'm forever annoyed by that.
You know what I did recently? Because like I've just started getting back into coding. I'm so rusty, but it's amazing how quickly it comes back. But one of the really cleansing kind of things I did, and if you're a dev that's out there and you haven't done this, like maybe do it because it feels so good. So I use VS Code. I think you use VS Code as well. But you know how you can have like an extension?
I use Cursor, but it's built on VS Code.
VS Code, yeah.
I think, yeah.
You know how you can download like extensions to have like a to-do list in your code editor? And so sometimes like you can just do like forward slash like, and then you write to do : and then, or you can write fix me : and then you like have a thing. Yeah. So I went through and I looked for all my like fix me's and I just deleted them. I was like, you know what?
Oh, man.
You know how long it's been? If it's been fix me for like over a certain amount of time, I'm not going to fix it. And I was like, you know what? I feel cleansed. I feel like whatever. No one is complaining about it.
It's kind of like inbox zero, or no, what do they call inbox bankruptcy? Yeah,
calling it bankruptcy. Just delete it. Like if it's been there for a certain amount of time, like you're not going to do it.
Well, that's kind of the Jason Fried of 37 Signals. He talks about how at Basecamp, they don't have a backlog for their apps for like feature cards and whatever, because they basically just like, what happens to a backlog? Things stay in the backlog forever.
That's why.
And then you go look at it again later and you're like, oh, I don't even remember the context of this. Do we still want it? Blah, blah, blah. And so they just don't keep a backlog and basically say like, if it's really important, it'll keep coming up. And it'll come up again, and then we'll take care of it. And I think to a point, I think that makes a lot of sense for sure.
Yeah, because like the backlog, I mean, I use Trello to manage feature requests. It's not a public Trello board. It's just my Trello board. If someone asks for something, I'll put it on the board. Or if it's already there, I'll just be like a +1 or whatever. So I use that. But the only thing it does is like it causes stress because I look at it and I go, oh my God, there's so many things on this board. And every now and again, I have to go through it and go, okay, you're not important. Not enough people ask for it.
Yeah.
I like this idea of like, if it's that big, it just keeps coming up and then just do it and then out of the way. It feels more, I'm sort of slightly hesitant to say like, I like that because I feel like this is a very ADHD thing for me. I sometimes just like going in the flow and not worrying about the past stuff. I kind of just like, forward. I'm just going forward, comes in, it keeps hitting me in the face enough. I'll be like, yep, okay, I'll do it. And then but I'm not going to worry about all the stuff I've kept before because I won't go back to it. I don't know. It sort of works for me sometimes, but I can see how it can also be dangerous. But I really like this idea of just going forward and not going back and looking at everything. There's probably some balance somewhere, but it feels good to just be like in the flow. In the flux, should I say?
In the flux.
In the flux. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, cool. We are running long, but wanted to give you a chance to talk anything going on kind of over in Llama Land. We really talked a lot about Flux today. So yeah.
Oh no, that's
Llama
okay.
Land.
There's not as many exciting things in Llama Life Land yet, but I have had quite a few people writing in saying like, when is the app getting updated? If you look on the App Store, it looks like it hasn't been updated for a long time, and that's dangerous because people have written in going, hey, are you still working on this? Are you still maintaining it? Like, what's going on? And it's a paid app, so like it could actually get in the way of people paying for it if they think there's no support. So this is a big thing. It's a psychological thing, but it's valid. It's completely valid. And
yeah, I know for myself, I've definitely looked at apps before and seen when the last update was and decided like, this doesn't feel like it's supported. And so
I don't want to pay for it.
Maybe without even thinking about it, just kind of opening it as I'm sort of evaluating it. That's like sort of one of those little like bullet points in my brain of like, oh, last updated 2 years ago. Yikes. Like maybe I won't do that. Yeah.
Totally valid. So I'm working on an update right now.
You're going all liquid glass, right?
Oh my God, no way. I hate liquid glass. This is a whole nother episode, but I just don't like it.
I don't think we've talked about that on the pod before. I like liquid glass. And
I'm one of those that went in and I hit like reduce motion. So if liquid glass does bother you, you can go into accessibility settings and turn on reduce motion. So it's not like flying around everywhere. Because I personally think the animations are a little bit over the top right now.
I think it does. Yes, I would agree. So I like a little bit. So I actually am working on, very much working on this stuff right now. And so
Yeah,
like you can set like a liquid glass panel or whatever to be interactive so that when you tap it, it kind of bounces a little bit.
sure.
Or if you like drag it, it kind of has like this kind of pull to it. And that stuff I think is okay. But there's this other animation that'll happen. A lot of apps do this where there'll be like a button in the top right, like in the header, a button, you press it and it opens up a menu, but it opens it up in this like giant, like animate, like flowy animation where it just like bounces in your face. I'm like, that is too much. Like, this is not, it feels like somebody trying to show off in a tech demo rather than like trying to be usable software.
Someone on their tech team didn't put that feature below the line. They kind of went, this is really important.
Right.
We need to put
Exactly. Exactly.
it in. Yeah, anyway, that's off, a bit off topic, but yeah, you can turn off some of those effects now. I think iOS realized, or Apple realized, like some people don't like it. Anyway, yeah, I guess my update is more just like I'm working on an update and I should have one soon. And I'm getting back in the groove of doing dev stuff.
Nice,
Don't know.
nice.
That's probably all for now, but I'll have a bigger update next episode.
I want to just, since we've been sort of, this has sort of been the React Native episode a little bit. I want to ask you like a few maybe like nerdy questions on some of the how like what you're doing in Llama Life versus what I'm doing kind of in Flux. Like for example, you talk about Xcode. Do you do your releasing through Xcode when you're doing like releases and like builds and stuff like that?
Sometimes, because I've had a few problematic releases where I had to actually go get now I'm going to forget. I think it's an IPA file, right? Like the IPA file? So. Yeah. I had to go manually get that from Xcode and then manually upload that to the App Store. So I've done that a few times, but then most of the time, like we set up like an automation thing where I don't need to do that. It kind of just does all the steps and publishes it direct. But I would advise against that. You spend a lot of time setting it up. It's great when it works, but if it doesn't, it's such a headache. I think I would rather just go, let me get the manual file and just upload it. The reason we did that was because we were pushing to Android and iOS at the same time.
Oh,
we just wanted to write like a couple of like command lines and be like, okay, it's the same release, put it out at the same time. The problem then became like, there were a couple of instances where I was like, we're going to do an iOS release or we're just going to do an Android release because something was broken on one side, but I didn't want to hold it up. And then it's like, well, you're no longer in sync. The updates are no longer in sync. And then it got super confusing, super quick. I wouldn't waste time doing that. I'd just do manual. I would do, if I was doing it again, and if I was just doing iOS, I'd probably just do manual. I don't know.
Do you use Expo at all? Okay, so Flux and wavepal as well are using Expo a lot, which kind of adds a lot of like a lot of ease, and they have a lot of like built-in packages that do a lot of like kind of standard native module stuff, which is great. But one of the things that Expo also has is something called EAS. I believe it's Expo that does EAS, and that sort of does all your package management, building, submission stuff more automated. Like you mentioned, like the IPA file. I've never even seen that because I just run it all through like these EAS command line stuff.
Okay.
But the downside is that means you are limited by how many builds you can do or it costs you money. And so like I've had a few different times, especially when I was first doing it. Now I'm on a paid account now, but I was using the free account before, and I would do a build and then I'd have a bug and then I'd have to do another build. And then I'm like, I only have 2 more builds for the rest of the month. And it became like this kind of headache managing that. But outside of that, other than the like having to count the builds and things like that, it does make the process super easy. Because like I don't even open Xcode except rarely if I have to for like some very specific hack. Like I haven't opened it in weeks. I can't remember the last time I had to open Xcode.
Yeah, so I had the build problem too. Like, so we use GitHub Actions to help with the builds, and that's based on like minutes. And you get a certain amount of minutes.
Yeah, so that's the same sort of thing.
Same thing, yeah. So
it was like when we had cell phones in the early 2000s, and I can only call you at night because that's when I have the nighttime minutes.
Yeah. So I feel like some of it just comes with it, and sometimes it's worth just spending the money. I don't know, because it's not going to happen all the time. But
Right.
rather than worrying about it, sometimes I think it's like, oh, I'm just going to put more money on GitHub Actions just for this one time, and then at least I can get the build out.
Are you using Style Sheet for your styles?
No.
What are you doing for styles?
I use styled components.
Oh, styled components. That's right.
It might be old school. I don't know. I like styled components because I like having. Yeah, I think it's just a React thing, right? Like I like having the style for my component and the logic in the component.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I want that component to be its own little world,
Exactly.
like fully contained. Yeah.
Sometimes, like if there's common styles, like I'll have like another component which has my styled components, reusable ones, and then I'll just import that style component into that. So sometimes there are a couple of things like that where I want it really consistent. So I guess it's sort of like a style sheet in a way, but it's not like your traditional. Are you talking about like traditional CSS style sheet, like just CSS file?
No, I'm talking about like so what's super common from what I've seen in React Native apps, I think maybe is even the default, is you kind of include this style sheet object kind of at the bottom of your file. Oh, I don't get it at all. It feels really terrible to me because it's so disconnected. And I just heard recently that if you look in the code, the React Native code base, you can see somewhere where they create style sheet, and there's literally a to-do that says like something like basically add the actual optimization to this or something like that.
Okay.
Whereas the way it's functioned right now, it's supposedly just as fast or performant or whatever if you just do inline styles within your return instead of this separate like style sheet thing.
I have so many inline styles. I think I've used style sheet maybe a couple of times because there was something very specific that I wanted that was already there. But most of the time it's either style components or if I'm sort of cheating a bit, like I'll just be like inline style just for this one thing.
Right. Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't look into styled components, but I've been using Tailwind so much in like my web dev.
Yeah.
And there's an older package called Native Wind that I was using at first. But just a couple months ago, a competitor came out called Uniwind, and it's super fast. And so I switched to that. And I love it. It's been like really, really, really nice.
I feel like if I did a new project, I might use something like Tailwind. I looked at Tailwind like a long time ago. I didn't like how it made I felt like it was so verbose. Like it made my components look kind of messy. Like I know it's really good and consistent, but then I was like, but I want it to just be like a little bit more like this. And also at the time I was learning CSS and I was like, I really want to get good at CSS. I really want to get good at CSS. And I go through phases. Like at one point I was like, this is going to be my thing. I'm going to be like the best CSS designer person. And didn't work out that way, but I still love doing some of the just CSS. And that's what style components is really great because you're just writing CSS.
I think because I definitely used to be that way more because I've been doing CSS since like, I don't know, late 90s or the early 2000s, like right around then. So I knew CSS really well. And so I feel like a lot of people that don't like Tailwind are people that love CSS.
Yeah.
And I don't think I think I really saw the flaws of CSS. And so Tailwind cleaned a lot of that up for me in a way that I love, because the whole idea of like cascading style sheets is so counter to sort of like the componentized data model. And I love a component where a component is its own little world and things on the outside. The only way things on the outside can affect that component are through the props. Like that component itself can tell you, you can tell me if I'm loading and then I'll decide how I look when I'm loading, like that sort of thing. And so I really like that sort of like model of thinking about an app. And so CSS is kind of counter that because of the inheritance and stuff like that.
But that's why style components are really good, because you could pass a prop to a component and you can pass that prop down to the styled component and it can change something based on whatever's being basically exactly what you said. Like style components do that.
Yeah.
Which is kind of why I liked, basically you can inject logic into your styles. And I was like, oh, that's super cool.
Yeah, because I was doing, I haven't done it in React Native, but the styled components, what was it called? I didn't actually use the styled component library. Emotion, which was one of the first ones. Have you heard of Emotion?
No.
So that was like when styled component, that idea like CSS and JS was like first starting to take hold. Emotion was something that I used a lot. But now I'm just like kind of fully in on Tailwind now.
The main advantage I would see is like this consistency. It's much easier to be consistent, I think.
Yeah, and it's very fast. Just to you're
once you
right
know
there.
the
You're already in the
syntax.
component, and it's just like throwing in more.
But it makes your
classes.
HTML look like it's just like it's so long. Like anyway. Yeah, probably a good place to wrap up. This is kind of like a little dev-heavy episode, but that's okay. Sharon will be back next episode.
Yeah, in the next episode, we will do our like themes of the year, which we didn't want to do without Sharon. So we'll tackle those next week. So let's go ahead and do picks and plugs. So we'll do some quick plugs and then share a pick. So Marie, where can people go to find out more about what you're doing?
So you can find Llama Life in the App Store or Google Play. Just Google Llama Life. You can find me mainly on Instagram these days at 3 Hour Coffee. That's 3 Hour Coffee, all spelled out one word. And yeah, where can people find you, Jesse?
Yeah, so you can find Flux for Blue Sky. You can find it on the App Store, and you can also go to fluxapp.blue. You can find me. I'm ADHD Jesse on most of the different social media, but particularly these days, I'm posting a lot on Blue Sky as I'm kind of building this app. And I bought a new URL just for fun. So if you go to adhdjesse.blue, that'll take you to my Blue Sky profile. So that's like a quick way to get there. adhdjesse.blue.
I haven't bought a new URL for a while.
Oh my gosh.
That's a good thing, though.
I have a problem. I could not say that. So yeah, so picks. I've got one. Do you have a good pick? All right, go for it.
So mine's it's a laptop stand. It's called the Rooster, I guess like the bird, but it's a really, and we'll put the links in the episode notes, but I think it's really well engineered. Like it's super light, it folds down, super thin. You can put it in your laptop. So if you're like digital nomading or you go into a co-working space regularly, this is a really good thing to get. There are imitations on Amazon, but they're not as good. So I've bought an imitation one as well. It's just not as sturdy. The original was the Roost, and this guy made it because he was having like neck and back problems, and I was having neck kind of back problems a while as well, just for being hunched over my laptop. So I would highly recommend that. Just check it out.
I feel like you mentioned this. I think maybe for like holiday guide. Is that where you had mentioned it?
Maybe, but it's been a while ago. So I still use mine. And I still have the original, great. So you could treat this. If you heard my original recommendation, you can just treat this as a follow-up. This is like you
doubling down. I'm doubling down. Really
this thing has lasted. It's expensive. I think it's about $100. No, maybe a bit less. I don't know. It's expensive. I looked at it and I was like, wow, that's expensive. But I can say I had this thing for over 10 years. Like this thing just keeps going, and it's
nice.
It's solid. Like I like a good engineered product. I have a lot of respect for it. I'm like, wow. They put a lot of thought into this. Simple but sturdy. It can hold a lot of weight. Anyway, that's my recommendation, or re-recommendation if you like. What's your pick?
Yeah, so you'd mentioned Trello earlier, and I love Trello. Trello is like a great app. For anyone that hasn't used it, it's like a Kanban board sort of thing. So you have these columns, and then you can add cards and arrange the cards in the columns. A lot of time, the Kanban style is where you kind of start on the left, like if you have issues for your app or whatever, and then you kind of move them to the left as you're working on it, as it's in review, when it's completed, things like that. And that's sort of like the traditional way that's used. Although I also use Trello for a lot of other stuff. Like if I'm doing a vacation, like a family trip or something, I use that a lot. Like I'll make each column a day and then sort of list, like we're going to be in this city. Here's a few things we could do on this day, and sort of like planning out sort of like a loose schedule. I find it like super helpful for that. So big fan of Trello, but specifically if you're going to be using it for like your issue tracker or something like that, there's another app that a lot of, I think, developers have started using that I'm a big fan of called Linear. And it's very similar to Trello, but has a lot more kind of powerful features to it, I think, and has like really great APIs that connect into stuff. And so it's the same sort of thing where you can kind of have this board style, but it's got a lot of just built-in stuff with like setting priority, auto tagging things. It's just really nicely designed. Like I really love the design. Actually, and speaking of, I was kind of referring more to the Mac app or the desktop version, but they have an iPhone app as well. And they have like had this article where they talked about liquid glass and sort of some of the issues we talked about, where it's just like maybe a little bit too much motion sometimes. And so they actually developed their own version of liquid glass. Like they have like a custom native version that they use in their app, and it's really slick. I kind of hope that they open source it. They probably won't, but if they did, I would probably switch to it because it kind of feels like liquid glass if someone had a bit more restraint, or maybe liquid glass if Johnny Ive was still there or something like that. Because it feels like it has a lot more of a designer's touch to it and is less kind of all over the place. And that's in the way they did their mobile app. But yeah, really, really great app. I use it. We've been using it for wavepal for the last year. And then I've been using it as well for Flux. And it's just really slick, really nice. And you can also
Is it free?
easily switch. I believe they have a free version. I'm trying to remember what the paid features are. Do we pay for it? It might be one of those things where most people can get away with the free version if you're not using it with the team. Because I don't feel like I'm paying for it. Or there might be like certain integrations you can only do with the paid plan or something like that. So it's pretty nice. I'm a big fan of it. And you can switch between kind of the card table view to like a list view, because some people kind of prefer that for their like to-dos. And it integrates really well with GitHub. And so like when I create a new issue, it'll give it sort of an ID, and then it'll give it like a branch name and things like that. So it makes it really easy to just like, oh, I'm going to work on this issue now. I'll tap this and it'll copy the branch name. I'll create the new branch. It'll automatically update the status that I'm working on this in Linear. And then I push the PR. GitHub also tells Linear like, hey, this is now in review because there's a pull request and all that. It's got a lot of really customized nerdy things, which all seem really, really well done, really smart. So I'm a big fan of it, Linear. I think it's linear.app is probably linear.app is the website.
All right, awesome.